First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zeng Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Tupten Darji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today. Om Maha Purati Salo Soha. 师母 Tanchen Chatso Rinpoche, all Dhamma masters, Dhamma educators, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the webcast. Our participating VIPs today are Madam to Ambassador Daniel Liao, the Taipei rep to Sweden, Dhamma Sister Judy, accountant to Tribhuda School, Dhamma Sister Teresa and her husband Larry, producers for Guinea Tiansang Xingten from the CTI TV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi, Dr. Su Lin, Rep to the Council from Taipei City, Dharma Sister Chie Hui Ling, the former council from Kaohsiung City's daughter, Dharma Sister Wu Meixian. Good afternoon, everybody. How do you do? Would like to make an announcement. Next Sunday, August 13th at 3 p.m., there will be the White Tarahoma fire offering ceremony. White Tara. Here, I don't need to ask anyone to become the primary supplicants. No need. Because it doesn't matter how loud I cry out, the numbers are just that much. So it's up to you whether you want to become a primary supplicant or not. I thought this is ice. Today's Homa is Mahapratisara Bodhisattva, the great fulfiller of wishes. And for this deity, had it been in Taiwan temple, the hatha offering would be endless. Because he's also called the Vajra, who grants wishes. And you receive the empowerment, you form the mudras, and then when you pray to her or him, then your wishes typically will be fulfilled. That's why her name means the wish granting or wish fulfiller. So when he knows your wishes, then would grant your wishes. So that's why his Vajra name is the wish-granting Vajra. I will let you fulfill your wishes. But the disciples here have a very high level of spiritual attainment to the fact that they have no more wishes. Even when the wish-granting Vajra is here, the wish fulfiller Bodhisattva Mahapratisara is here to fulfill your wishes, because he would fulfill your wishes the best or the most. And yet you don't ask for anything, so because you have attained a very high level. Those who presented Hatha was like the stars at dawn. There were not very many. So it's quite tiring, human life. And it's so hot. And here burned by fire. And Master Lien Yin, when the fire is about to extinguish, and he made it big again. He made it burning again. So I feel like a roasted fish, octopus. I have fire even in my chest. This deity is quite special. Of all the Avalokiteswaras, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, this is an emanation that specially fulfills the wishes of sentient beings. Very few people know about this Bodhisattva. This is very important to fulfill your wishes. Typically, people from Southeast Asia would have more wishes, so they ask for more. But the Westerners, they don't care. Whatever deities, they're all the same. But that's right too, because every deity is about the same. Something special about this deity is to fulfill your wishes. And the key is at the 8 mudras, the Mahapratisara 8 mudras, as you know. The first mudra, the inner 5-pronged mudra. It's like this. It's similar to the Tara mudra, but it's different. It's similar to the Vajrapani mudra. The index, the pinkies are upright. That's the only difference. If the pinkies are inward, then this is Golden Mother's mudra and the mudra for all Taras. But for him, the pinkies are upright. So the first mudra is the 5-pronged mudra. And then to become the second mudra, which is the Kala Chakra mudra. So the mudra of all the deities. So transform to become Kala Chakra mudra. And then transforms to become the Yamantaka mudra. and then to become Ushnisha Vijaya Mudra, and then to become the three-pronged mudra, and then the single-pronged mudra, and then the Akasagarbha mudra, and last, the scripture mudra. And this is the key point, this mudra. When you form this mudra, you have to rub 3 times and clap 3 times and back to this mudra. Why do you want to rub 3 times? That's the pith instruction. That's the key formula. And it would touch the heart of Mahapratisara. And by rubbing 3 times, you touch the heart of Mahapratisara Bodhisattva. Then he would open his eyes to look at the sentient being and to hear your wishes, and will bestow them to fulfill your wishes. So that's the wish fulfiller mudras. Mahapratisara 8 mudras. And he has 8 arms, 8 arms with 8 hands. The body is deep yellow. The top left hand is holding a lotus, and on top of the lotus is a flaming golden wheel. And the other 3 left hands hold a scripture, a banner, and a lasso. And the top right hand is holding a 5-pronged Vajra scepter. And the other right hands are holding a halberd, a sword, and a kartika. And Mahapratisara is sitting atop a lotus. The body is deep yellow. So that's his image, the mantra. So the mantra meant Om, the great wish fulfiller Bodhisattva, let it be accomplished. Om Mahaprati Salo Soha. There was a tantric sutra, the Mahapratisara Dharani Sutra, of the Supreme Wish Fulfilling Sutra. It talks about the spiritual responses of Mahapratisara. So anyone that have heard and chant, read, write, propagate the Mahapratisara Dharani will earn the merit of passing through the fire without getting burned. Like the fire just now, it was a big fire, but it didn't burn Grandmaster. And never poisoned. Even when someone tried to poison you, you will not be poisoned. Subjugation of one's enemies and enmities. And the greatest one is to break out from the hell, from the spaceless hell, and never harmed by beast, and especially never harmed by authorities, like say you're being audited by IRS or your tax audit, then you have no problems. Of course, you have to be prepared, because when the IRS goes after you, you have to prepare all the materials, and if you didn't do anything wrong, then you would be spared from the problems. Grandmaster, up till now, always passes. The Simu is incredible. She prepared all the materials completely, and she's always ready with the tax audit for each of the years. She would retain records from 10 years, for 10 years, and whichever they ask for, she can prepare them, and they're all very complete. And Dharma Sister Teresa knows best about this. So her company is taking care, or is helping IRS. Before IRS performs audit on you, the company would do the audit first on you, and then they pass it on to the IRS. Then there will not be any issues or problems. Only very few problems. So the records, the materials have to be complete. All the bookkeepings, the debits and credits. So this kind of calamities due to authorities and lawsuits, and due to wars or politics. So this is truly remarkable. All kinds of spiritual responses. Can be burned by fire, can be poisoned, as subjugation of enemies, breaking out from hell, never harmed by dragons, and never harmed by authorities. Of course, here in the sutra, you can ask for children. If you want a son or a daughter, you can pray to Mahapratisara and have your wishes fulfilled. And Mahapratisara can also eradicate all the calamities. And by chanting the mantra, you can go to the heavenly realms, the dragon, and be protected by the dragon beings. Talking about the protection of the dragon beings, words through the grapevine, you may think, oh no, again. But they're witness to this. I went to the X temple, and before dinner, asked me, took out a piece of paper and asked me to write something. So I was holding the brush and I was going to write my verse, whatever verse that comes to mind. But X was standing next to me, and Master Lien Yin was there too. And X told me, so write what I say. And I said, okay. So if you want to dictate to me, that's fine. I don't have to think more about it. And then she started. The dragon beings of the 8 directions support XX Padma Kumara. And I thought, the dragon beings supports X Padma Kumara. Can I write this? As long as you practice Mahapratisara's Dharma, recite her mantra, visualize him, and form his mudra, then he could fulfill your wishes. And all the heavenly beings, the dragon beings, and the gods will protect you. So all the heavenly beings and all the gods and the dragon gods are from the realm of ghosts. So by practicing Mahapratisara, you would get the protection from the heavenly and dragon beings. And of course, the heavenly and the dragon beings support everybody, not just one person. Because there were so many of these heavenly and dragon beings, how could it just support one person? They support all the devoted and dedicated disciples under the teachings of the Buddha. All the Buddhist followers will be protected by the heavenly and dragon beings. And because I thought of this, I did write that the heavenly and dragon beings support X Padma Kumara. Actually, not just that for one person, but for all the Buddhists under heavens. Of course, on the paper, it was just that person, because she was the one that said it. And Master Lin Yin witnessed it, because I wrote one word by word, what she said. So it's the sound of her heart, not the sound of my heart. So now you understand. So that's vanity, and you can tell, because the heavenly and dragon beings would support all Buddhists who are cultivating spiritually, who are devoted, earnest, and abiding by the precepts and truly cultivating. But if you violate the precepts, then the heavenly and dragon beings would abandon you. And then what's left? Just the ghost. Just the ghost on your side. I didn't say anything bad about her. This is a true story, and that's the concept. That's the... By saying this, I hope that she would abandon evil and return to the righteous and the good one, and not the other way around. In the past, she was right, and then she changed and become evil. But as Buddhists and spiritual cultivators, we want to change the evil ways to become the correct and the righteous way. Now let's talk more about Lamdre. The false form of the totality. This phenomena appear in the sentient beings who already have his mind cleared, but the external circumstances have not been established, so they wrongly regard the forms that appear from the mind as real. Like looking through the rose-colored glasses, one sees distorted and erratic forms out of nowhere due to the cloudiness obstructions in the eyes. I have read this piece yesterday too. So all phenomena that appear in sentient beings or sentient beings with emotions are illusory and unreal. They are not real. However, the sentient beings regard them as real. So they wrongly regard anything that appears from their mind as real, but actually they are not real. But the mundane beings think of them as real. Is money real? In Buddhism, money is not real. Why? Very simple. So money, US dollars, someone had this idea that he wanted to open Hilton Hotel on the moon. And then he was waiting for the earthlings, for people on the earth to invent space shuttles, which have been invented, and carry many people to travel to the moon and stayed at his Hilton Hotel. So he had that wish. And then think about it. He was watching over his hotel, and eventually there was a space shuttle carrying tourists stopping on the moon, and they got to Hilton Hotel. And then what did they pay? US dollars. Because it's a global currency that you can use wherever you go. You can exchange the local currencies. So when you get to the moon and you give him US dollars, but the owner said, "What use do I have for this paper? What can he buy on the moon with US dollars?" So the money is useless there. So money is useless when you leave the world. In this Shita Pure Lands, in all the Pure Lands, the Pure Lands of Maitreya or Siddhigarbha or Amitabha, that US dollars is not the money. It's useless. So that's how you should view money. After you die, is money useful for you? No. It's useless. And another important external appearance, fame, is it useful? So is there use for good reputation? There is use among people around you. Like Trump now is famous on earth. When you go to the moon, is there your name there? Of course not. When you go to Amitabha's Buddha land, is Trump famous? No. And if you go to the Lapis Lazuli realm of Medicine Buddha in the east, Amitabha's Pure Land, Trump is not a fame at all. So think about it, the human world. There are lots of ants on earth, right? And they all have names. Because ants battle each other. Ants from different countries, different ant countries would fight with each other. I've seen it. And ants from this port and ants from that port, they all marched toward each other and bit each other. And there was a battle between ants. I saw it when I was little. Of course, the ant country has its name, and the ants also have names, like William and David, and they were fighting each other, and one won, and David always won, and he became famous. But when you look at the ant, do you think it's famous? No. It's the same like the Buddha looking at us. No big deal. What kind of fame is it? This way, fame disappears from your mind. There's no more fame. And how about sensualities? If you're young, maybe you have it, but if you're old, it's gone. Anyone in the old age, you're safe. Nobody will hitch on you or seduce you or even rape you, then you're safe. Doesn't matter where you walk, nobody would embrace you or hug you. If you have a good figure and a good figure from the back and someone hug you from behind, but when you turn around, then they would run away because her face is filled with black sesame seeds. It's quite scary. So that's the safe group. And the unsafe group is you're still young and beautiful and very attractive, gorgeous. And when you walk, it's very graceful and very charming and enticing, like this, like in the form of X. Not only the young man would hug you and drag you to the empty aisles, even the elderly man, the grandpa, would have their hearts beating faster. That's desires and sex and sensuality. Even that can change. In the past, the Dasanpo, the great aunt, the great Anne, the grand Anne from California. You've seen her before. Is Lai Mo Xiang here too? Mo Xiang is over there. When she was young, Lai Mo Xiang was really gorgeous. Not very many Taiwanese is that beautiful. When she was young, she was truly beautiful. And she was sitting there. And she just got to the Seattle temple. And there were many men that were trying to teach her the mudras. And the grand aunt came out and said, "What happened? You were all just teaching Lai Mo Xiang how to form the mudra and not me?" Because grand aunt was already quite old then, and she couldn't form the mudra. And Lai Mo Xiang couldn't form the mudra, but some man was still teaching her and trying to make her form the mudra. And Mr. Lai was also one of the men, and he said, "Hey, I'll invite you for lunch." And the grandma, Tasenpo, said, "But how about me? Nobody's inviting me." Mr. Lai's heart was also moved, and he wanted to invite her for lunch. He's very stingy. He never invited me for any meals, but he wanted to invite Lai Mo Xiang. And both of you are here today, so. And she said, "I was beautiful too when I was young. How come now nobody's inviting me for lunch?" A human being changes. When you're young, then you have it. So the plastic surgeons would know the collagens would make your face look very youthful. You can check your computer or your cell phone. Or you can get injection of Botox, hyaluronic acid, and then your face would appear youthful. It would appear again on your face. But without them, there is a reference that I want to mention here. Reference Tehua as an example. Please show yourself to everybody. Please show everybody your teeth. It's like the tooth teeth hero. I use you as a specimen. Reverend Tehua, do you have a picture of when you were young? Were you beautiful? Do you have a photo of when you were young? Showed it to me one day. So being young and being old are different. So your form or your look will change. Almost all girls, when they're young, are beautiful, pretty, and radiant. There's no age spots, no marks, no wrinkles on their face, and they're very youthful and fresh, like a fresh flower. See what a big difference between a fresh bud and a wilted flower. So that's the look of form that can change. So the colors that you have will fade to become nothing. Now, from Seattle Lechang Temple, and we went to the Sacramento Temple. And on the tour bus, Master Lian Qi walked from the front to the back trying to find someone young to perform, but nobody. Everybody is already aging. You should at least have some look. Like Dharma Sister Rebecca Yachi. For writers, we would say that she's rather pretty. Now she's still considered the unsafe group. She went to casino on exit 27 to dine, to go for the concerts, and she ate there, but she didn't gamble. And she said, she told me, that you have to check if you're adult already, right? And the person had to check her ID. How old are you? Are you an adult? That's how they ask her. So she's still the unsafe group until now. Because every time she goes there, all the white people would always check on her. Like if Dasanpo dines there, the Caucasians will not check on her, but would check on Rebecca. So that's her look. So now I'd like to ask you, is X considered safe or unsafe? Then you're right. And talking about this, words through the grapevine, again. Dharma Sister Rebecca followed X for 10 years. And finally she left. And she had the story that she didn't even know. X said, why Rebecca left me? Because Rebecca once slept at her house. And Rebecca stole a lot of her money. And because she stole her money, so she left. So people ask X, so you can sue her if she stole your money. And she replied, because Rebecca was X's daughter, was my daughter in my past lives. So I don't have to hurt the heart to sue her. And then my sister Rebecca cried out, I never slept at your house. I slept at the male dormitory. And I said, what? A woman slept at the male dormitory? Because she had her son and she accompanied the son at the male dormitory. And Si Pei-ling from New York also brought her son, and together they slept at the male dormitory, and they were good friends. So X said that Dharma Sister Rebecca stayed at her house and stole a lot of her money. This is not my problem, it's your own problem. You should made it clear yourself. Dharma Sister Rebecca said, X took Rebecca to the bank to write a will that after Rebecca dies, that all her money would be given to X. And how to resolve that? Simu asked Hanifa, Dharma Sister, the translator, to bring Rebecca to the bank to annihilate, to nullify that will. X wanted to become the beneficiary of all her assets. Not the other way around, not that Rebecca stole X money. So now we have arguments. You have to find witnesses that you never slept at her house. And she claimed that she lost a certain amount of money. So you have to clarify. You have to find witness that you never slept at her house at all. I'm the judge. You have to find the witness and the proof. The will that you wrote, was it her that wanted your money, or you, the one that wanted her money? That's the question. So all appearances, all phenomena are wrong. In samsara, everything is very chaotic and disorderly. So three appearances. First, the appearance of money, or the form or the look of money, and second, of name and reputation. Third is of look and sensuality. They're all erratic and chaotic, and they are not real. In the human world, they are not real at all. So it's been said very clearly. So don't be attached to this in order to be liberated. Don't be attached to any of it in order for you to transcend the human world. Don't be attached to any of it in order for you to be free from the sixth rebirth cycle. And this is Buddha Dharma. Let me share a joke. The three words that really move women, not I love you, but when a man is shopping with a woman, and when the woman is praising a bag inside the store window, the man would hug the woman, gaze at her eyes, and you just say, just swipe the card. These 3 words is even more moving to the woman. So that's the phenomena of money. That's also a very distorted and chaotic form. A fisherman was holding a fish going to the Zen master issue. Huh? Who's? Let's bet. So, Zen master, can you tell? So, like a samurai caught a fish and went to the Zen master issue and asked the Zen master, is the fish alive or dead? And the Zen master issue knew that if he says dead, then the samurai would let go of his hand and the fish would be jumping around. But if the Zen master says it's alive, then the samurai would squeeze the fish, and so the fish would die. So the Zen master issue would always be wrong. So the Zen master said, the fish is alive. It's dead. And the samurai let go of his hand. See? You lost because the fish is alive. It was still jumping around on the floor. And the Zen master smiled slightly and said, yes, I lost. And the samurai won and laughed happily. And then the Zen master said, but I won a real fish. That you can eat it 3 times. The head and tail for the soup, and the flesh steamed, and the bones can be deep fried and would supply your calcium. And the head and tail for the soup, and the tiny bones would be deep fried for calcium, and the flesh steamed. So in the view of Zen Master Issue, when he reached such a high attainment, there is nothing, the so-called winning or losing doesn't exist for the Zen Master. So winning or losing, contemplate on them. If you can contemplate, there is no such things as winning or losing, then you can attain liberation. The husband asked the wife, the husband said, I have an illness. What kind of illness? Terminal illness. And the wife asked, what happened to you? And the husband said, I found that my arm is getting shorter and shorter. It was long before and now it's getting shorter and shorter. And the wife said, how come? How did you find out? Because I could hug your waist before, and now with 2 arms I I can't hug your waist. So don't you think I'm sick? That I have this terminal illness? And the wife didn't say anything and just and then yell, "Get out of here." Why didn't you say straight out that I'm fat now? Why? You were still making things up that your arm's getting shorter. When they're young, all the ladies are very slim. And they're slim at the right parts and voluptuous at the right parts, protruding at the right parts, and slim at the right part. When you're young, you're like that. So then you have the look. But when you age, you can't control your eating. What are you afraid of? Let's just eat. Nobody loves me anymore. Don't care that your pleasure is eating. Your hobby is eating, then you become water barrel. You become round, complete. That's all for today. That becoming a water barrel is round and complete. Om Mani Padme Hum.